Thanks again for staying with us on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television this morning on ITV. We call it TMI. Well, the race for 2023 is getting stronger, bigger, better as we get closer. But for some political parties, it's a very easy decision to make on who becomes what. But for some of the major political parties, it's such a huge issue, particularly the PDP, with some people talking about the zoning dilemma of the PDP. Who and where should the party's presidential ticket go to? For most people, or some people, let me be a bit modest, in the South, they believe that the presidential ticket should come to the South. But in recent times, we've heard some political bigwigs in the North saying, in party politics, you've got to negotiate. That is not a right that the presidential ticket of the PDP should come to the North. People like the governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, and Sarah Ada. So today on the show, we'll look at what should be the best option for the PDP ahead of the 2023. And then on the part of the APC, a whole lot is happening. One person that seems to be a frontline runner for the presidential election will be Bola Ahmed Tinubu. But you know, interesting thing about politics is that as we get closer, a lot of things starts happening that those who probably started out the race at the first may just be at the back, and new entrants coming and be on the front line. We're seeing that happening as well with the likes of Rotimi Amechi, Minister of Transportation, joining the race, and Gordon Emefiele also joining the race. I mean, yesterday I saw on social media that trended over the weekend with branded cars of Gordon Emefiele for president in 2023, everywhere. These are lots more will be extraing in the next 45 minutes or thereabout. Let me quickly welcome our panelist. Solomon Ijogbe is a comrade, former chairman, Youth Council of Nigeria, and zonal leader and national leader of Youth Council of Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much. Good morning. Andreas Ahomi, very good morning.
We have in our midst a political scientist from the University of Benin, Neville Obakedo. Neville, thank you for joining us.
Good morning, viewers at home. Thank you for having me this morning.
We also have a former legislator at the Oredo legislative arm. I'm hoping you can actually step up the ladder, Comrade Harrison Iseko, and go to the House of Assembly. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers.
Okay, let's get started. Let me start with Solomon. It looks like there's a dilemma with the major opposition party at the national level on where their presidential tickets should go to. Is that supposed to be a big problem? Is that supposed to be an issue for the political party at this point in time, against the matter of the problems that we have and the circumstances operating in the country?
It's zoning. It's really a major problem because you have too many interests from different quarters, especially for major political parties. Like if you ask me, I'll say it again and again that we have only two political parties in Nigeria, even though we know we have other registered ones, but most often they're addendum, like an appendage to the major political parties. But having said that, I think that when you say dilemma, it may also just be part of their politicking, just to heighten the politics, just to see what their the opponent will do so as to give them a guideline. For instance, we all know that by normal political arrangements, when a party national leadership comes from a certain zone, because in Nigerian politics, as it were, it's two divides, north and south. And so when the national party chairman comes from the other divide, naturally, the presidency is usually zoned to the other divide. But, even in the two divide, there are also 2 or 3 other segments, subdivisions. In the north, you have the northeast, northwest, and north central. In the south, you have the southeast, southwest, and south-south. So when they not conclude the divide across the first 2, then it now falls on which of the divides among the other divides is to provide the presidency. So for me, I think that having picked from the north the national presidency, chairmanship,
Okay.
like the ruling party has also done, it's natural that the presidency is zoned to the other divide. But I think what they are doing is testing the waters to see what is the reaction or what will be the reactions of the people and politicians. You know, politicians are also not stable. You know, there's this normal slogan: no permanent friend,
No permanent enemy,
permanent
interest.
So their interest will continue to drop. Can't imagine that Godwin Emefiele joining the race, you know, and all that. And you can hear all the, you know, accusations, counter accusations, if you like, hues and cries over why should he, how would he, is that why they've been doing this, and you know. So these are the issues. For me, I think that PDP may just be testing the waters to see what their opponents will be throwing up, because naturally, I think they know that the zoning, you know, gives opportunity for the South, having gotten their national chairman from the North.
No.
But which side of the South
is it going to?
Because you hear the Southeastern clamoring that they've been so marginalized politically, that it's their turn to have president, and you have people like Peter Obi, you know, going to pick presidential tickets and all that. And you still have the all-time contestants of the People's Democratic Party from the North still indicating interest and so for me, it's maybe too early to think that the People's Democratic Party may have been jacketed or is in a dilemma.
Okay.
I just think it's part of the politics.
All right, Neville, I'd like you to lap up on that. What are your perspectives on this scenario playing out with the PDP in terms of statements like the party's in a dilemma as to where the presidential ticket should go to, north, south?
My point of departure in assessing the crisis right now that is confronting the political process in Nigeria is for us to put the two leading political parties to task. In the first instance, PDP was in government from 1999 to 2015. And they had a very laudable and reliable zoning arrangement that started from their party structure and later to political elected positions. One thing that political parties in Nigeria, committee of political parties in Nigeria should learn from PDP is the fact that in 1999, not only from PDP, from the two leading political parties at that time, Alliance for Democracy and PDP, both the elite of the North and South, they agreed that the two political parties should feature candidates from Southern Nigeria, especially from Southwest, and they zone vice presidency to the North and all the rest of them. And it was Olufalaye and Olusegun Obasanjo that were the presidential candidates of the party, of the two political parties. Apart from Abubakar Rimi that contested with Obasanjo in 2023, they wanted the same zoning arrangement to continue. And it did continue beyond Obasanjo. That zoning arrangement brought late President Umaru Yar'Adua and brought the vice president then, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. It was that arrangement. It was that zoning. But the zoning was truncated when Yar'Adua died and Goodluck was to now be president to complete this tenure. I don't want to go into the intrigues and the manipulation of the political process within the PDP because of the ill health and the final demise of President Umaru Yar'Adua. But as a student of history, I remember that after a series of meetings with governors and the stakeholders of the party, they agreed to take Namadi Sambo, as he was governor of Kaduna State, as the vice president to Ebele Jonathan. And there was a press conference that PDP addressed the nation where they said Goodluck Ebele Jonathan and Namadi Sambo shall do one tenure after completing the tenure of Yaradua. And after the end of that one tenure, just like we are talking about zoning and the rest of them, those who benefit from the process, who are members of any government in power, they just felt that Goodluck should. That's the name of their political party. Yeah, Goodluck should just forget about that agreement. You just forget, and these were documented agreements that you should forget about that agreement and just come now and contest for presidency again. And I remember the statement of former governor of Kano State, Ibrahim Shekarau. He just sincerely, Sonny Dukokosu, the one who interviewed him on this television station program, when he came to campaign in outside quarters in Edo State with Pastor Sagi Zeyamu as the governorship candidate. And he made a statement when we were asking about, that was 2016 governorship election. Yeah. And you asked him questions about the presidential election. How come PDP lost that election? And he said, the North of APC, not of PDP, not of other political parties. The leadership of the North, they met and said that if you allow Goodluck Ebele Jonathan to become president for another 4 years, it will be 16 years for Satana to rule Nigeria and only 2 years. And that 2 years, Yaradua was nowhere for not to now rule Nigeria for 2 years. So they now checked the political space and discovered that it was only Muhammadu Buhari, the incumbent president, that was the most popular person, and he was the one that was scoring the next highest number of votes after PDP. And so they not rallied around Buhari to become president. Even members of PDP were following President Ebele Jonathan to campaign and travel across the country. They knew they were not going to vote for Ebele Jonathan, and they did not vote for him. He said it on this platform. What am I trying to say? We should now, zoning is good to dance tension between the North and South. The North and South question has been there. We can lessen the problem because Nigeria is having. There are too many problems that Nigeria is just carrying, or too many burdens that Nigeria is carrying. We have the burden of Boko Haram. We have the burden of terrorists. We have the burden of cattle rustlers. We have the burden of kidnappers. Bandits. We have the burden of bandits. We have the burden of no employment. We have the burden of poverty. The burden that Nigeria is carrying is too much now. And we expect politicians to be talking of what they are going to do for Nigeria and Nigerians when they have the opportunity of becoming president through their political parties. And in fairness to Nigerians, if the North, according to Shekarau now, is to be and the South are to be rotating presidency, this one rule for 8 years, one rule for 8 years, and Buhari is going to complete 8 years by 2023. By common sense, it means power should not shift to the south. But if power is not going to shift to the south, because those who are to determine where power to shift to, that control the apparatus of the state, they are saying no, then the issue of negotiation and compromise will not come in. And that is why when the people of the southeast, they are always coming out to say that northern Nigeria, because from 1920 Clifford Constitution, Nigeria was divided into the north, the west, and the east. South was not measured, which is our own part. Now, north, they have ruled Nigeria, the west have ruled, is the east that have not ruled. In a democracy, you don't rule by sentiment. In a democracy, you rule by votes. So what the APC did by working with Tinubu to win Western Nigeria for APC to become president, for Buhari to become president. If the Southeast also want to be president, they should go reach out across the Niger and across the Benue to the politicians of these geopolitical zones, discuss with them and agree with them on the kind of appointment they are going to get when a Southeasterner becomes president. If it's on the basis of sentiment, the way they are doing it now, that is the way they feel they can be president. It will be very difficult for them to be president of this country.
Thank you very much, Naveed, taking us down memory lane and bringing it to the actualities and the realities of today, so we can, correlate both. Harrison, let's come to you. should we really be concerned about zoning, or should we be concerned more about who has the capacity to deliver? There are myriad of problems confronting the country at the moment. Shouldn't that be the focus of what we should be talking about? I mean, former President Olusegun Obasanjo has told us not to vote for those who are saying the group of people bought forms for them. In other words, they didn't have money to buy form, but people came, contributed. That has become synonymous with our political process.
Well, you know, in this country, we just do things and we think that we are talking to people who live in the jungle. I think now, with what we are going through in this country, with the present economic situation of Nigeria, I think every one of us, we should start thinking on how we can better this country, not even on party line. Because everybody go to the same market. This issue of zoning is not a constitutional thing, it's an arrangement between the political elites. Since we have done this way, let us push it this way. Let's go by this way. When Buhari took over from Jonathan, we know where the economic situation of this country, the stage at which Buhari took over this country. But where we are today now, nobody will tell you that the thing is worst in all ramifications. But that is not to say that PDP as a party will not think that with the way they are going now, they will be able to rescue power from APC. I won't deceive myself. APC as a party is very strong. They were thinking that during this convention something will happen. My brother, they were able to manage it. Whether you like it or not, they control 23 states. And most of those states are from the north. If you must, any party, if you must take power from the north, you must work with the northerners. Because they have the vote. Okay. We can't number in voting. When Buhari was to come up, when the issue started in the PDP, when there was a breakout, I bet you this gang led those process alongside with Atiku. They break out from PDP. And what do? They have to put us together to work with a northerner. Picking Buhari to get the votes from the north. At the end of the day, the film was very clear. They took over power. So if PDP feel they want to take over power, they should forget this issue of zoning for some selfish interest. If they actually want to take over power, they should begin to navigate with the north. And if with the present structure of APC, there is only when you get a northern candidate. Because for APC as a party, the structure is very clear. They are going to pick their presidential candidate from the south. Okay. That one is clear. Okay. But for PDP, the northerners who are saying no, they have basis. Because they want to go by their party, by their own party arrangement zoning. The southerners have room more than the north, okay, by PDP. Okay. Obasanjo for 8 years. Jonathan completed Yeradua's tenure. He went back again and did another 4 years. By their own party, when you are zoning, you zone within your party. You cannot be using your other parties to control your own. But by PDP zoning, the northerners are the ones who are the losing end here. So if you want to go by that, they have a point. Okay. But what we are looking at is that competence is there, but you cannot rule away zoning. If PDP want to actually take over power, they should remove this issue of sharing first and get the power. The only way to get the power is to get somebody from the north so that sentiment can come in, because northerners want to remain in power. If you get somebody from the north and APC get somebody from the south, even the man at the center will be sleeping the day of the election, because they want themselves, they don't want power to leave their side. That is the only way they can manage the situation to take power from the APC. Everything outside that one, people are just talking. Everybody saying that no, Tinubu cannot do anything. I don't see anybody in PDP right now that is going to match Tinubu in the south in the next coming election. We don't deceive ourselves. The Igbo have the structure. Everybody in this government, they are passed through Tinubu.
Well, these are your personal perspectives.
I know what I'm saying. I've done my research. Yes, I've done my research. Yeah. Even the primaries in APC, there is no person from the south that will do primary with Tinubu that will be able to defeat him. Okay. We should not deceive ourselves. Not even a mention that they are talking about, except they want to manipulate it. But if you want to go through the normal process, they won't be able to push it down. But over the years, the man have been able to build the structure. The structure that brought in Buhari is Tinubu. If you move Tinubu out of APC, I told somebody that if Tinubu pull out of APC, he will crumble that party. So, what should be our concern now? How do we rescue this country? Who is the person that will flag the both parties? And whoever that is going to do it from PDP, they must put your constitutional people from the north, because we need the vote. The vote comes from this area. The vote from Kano State alone have covered 3 states in the south. That is the person trying. The way they vote
block.
It's block and it's directive. They understand politics more than the way we do it here. Look at Kassina and the other, they brought 1.2 million votes. In the order of South, I believe that came out from the order of South. So it is vote. It is not zoning that will solve the issue. It is the vote that is coming. So whoever that is being a candidate should begin to work with the area where the bulk of the vote comes from. Okay. Because these northerners, they do tribal politics. I asked one boy from the middle belt, I said, why is it that when there is an election, you people want to work together? There are 3 geopolitical zones in the north. We want to work together. He said, our forefathers have done it long. When it comes to voting, they vote in agreement.
Okay.
Because, and if they vote for themselves, they will defeat us here. Because they are more than us. They control 19 states. And they have the numbers within their area there. Okay. So, it now boils down to the leaders of the party to sit down and see how, especially the PDP, if they actually wanted to take, they want to take over power, not these bills that they are making. They must work with the leaders within the north there and see how they can have a common strike. Somebody that is competent within the area, because for me, everybody within the geopolitical zone is competent to rule Nigeria. It must not come, it must be from here. And the problem we're having is the issue of tribalism, ethnicity. We want our people to go the way a person is qualified, it must be our person. That's why we are finding ourselves in this problem.
Okay, let me
so let's come back home and
put
some things together.
All right, Solomon, you've heard some of the contributions so far, but let's look at the contributions and the factor, the governance factor in all of these conversations, because that seems to also be a major plank in deciding who becomes what. What are your thoughts?
The governors are the major problems in the political parties, whether in PDP or in APC.
Yes, they are in charge.
They are the major problems. They are the ones crisscrossing and cross-carpeting. But I really want to quickly deviate or divert from what my brother said, that it has to be the north. What is fair is fair. If you are talking about even the PDP, by your analysis, you are talking about 2 years difference. Goodluck did 2 years of Yar'Adua, making 6 instead of 4. So if there is no government that comes in and does only 1 term, you understand, they definitely want to do a second term. Just like in the case of Goodluck Jonathan. Yes, it was an agreement. That's actually what brought the Boko Haram insurgents to full-blown play. If you recall, that was the same thing that cost Kaduna, his governor, Yakowa, who said he was coming back in a fortnight. He will announce the names of those behind the Boko Haram. Don't forget, late General Azazi, who complains that the problem that they are having is as a result of the agreement not kept by the PDP. Those two, coincidentally, whether by omission or commission error or break, were found in the same plane, who took off less than 3 minutes.
And they were gone.
A double engine helicopter knocked within 3 minutes. So you understand the play in Nigeria. But having said that, I think that the governors are the major problems in Nigeria. And when you are talking about zoning, don't forget, Nigeria is a very religious country. If you ask me, one of the most religious countries in the world, they're very, very ethnocentric when it comes to issue of politics. They are very conscious of so many things that has to do with ethnicity, religion, and that relations. Now, don't forget that the play of Christian Muslim is there, the play of North and South is there. Now, going by that, I think that's a major cross in this whole matter. Then the governors, why I said the governors are the problems, is that a lot of them are greedy. They want to control. The problem we're having with the local government administration today are as a result of the governors, straight jacketing the local government administration and the houses of assembly. You can remember a situation where even houses of assembly in this country voted against themselves when it came to the issue of voting for autonomy of the state assembly.
Okay.
As bad as that. How can a man who decides to be a slave will have the reasoning to free you not to be a slave when he himself is already voting for himself to be a slave? That's the problem. This is as a result of governors, straitjacketing the legislative and judicial arms of government. But having said that, the major problem here is that governors, because you look at the class of persons contesting from across the political parties, you discover that majority of them are serving governors or former governors who have transcended from being governors to senators. Because no governor does his 8 years in Nigeria and goes back to relax. Except the likes of Adam Soshomole, who of course was, as at that time, the party national chairman, and so as such cannot be a serving senator and a national. You understand? So what they do is that, having served as governors, they retire, take retirement benefit, go to National Assembly and be collecting the benefit as well, and begin to also decide and dictate for their state. They are the problems that they want controlling the politics within the region. Now, if you look at it, the problem now that PDP is facing is as a result of the likes of Rufai, Ekiti, Fayoshe, is it? Okay.
Is it the correct?
I know Fayoshe is the former one. Fayemi, from Ekiti. Tambowa from the north. You understand? You look at that, the crops.
But most of those governors you mentioned, they are in APC, not in PDP. Apart from Tambowa.
No.
Okay.
I'm talking about governors in general.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
You look at it, cutting across the two political parties. Is it Bello of Kogi
State
that wants to repeat in quote the developmental stride in Kogi State in Nigeria? Yet you cannot pass through Kogi State from Edo to Abuja. So I'm telling you that the major problem is the greed of the governors of these political parties, major political parties. And let me tell you, they don't have permanent stay. Their ticket is a two-way ticket. They travel in and out, like they are going to Canada or to Dubai. So they have diplomatic passport to travel from APC to PDP or PDP to APC when it doesn't favor them. That is part of the problems that the major political parties are facing. So the governors, if you ask me, are those that will determine where
the pendulum will swing.
Two, whether Nigeria will move forward or not. And that's why we must begin to think how we can at least attempt to begin to strip, these governors a little of their so much power. You understand? Because the powers that the governors control is so much. It's just like somebody told me one day, said, do you know that the president of Nigeria is the most powerful president in the world? I said, no, it can't be. He said, no, I'm telling you, he's the most powerful president in the world. I said, cannot be the... Where U.S. president come there now? He said, see you. Do you know that the president can kill anybody and walk away? But the American president cannot. And I started thinking, okay, if that's
you start reflecting on that.
If that's what you mean, yes, I understand. The Nigerian president has so much power. And so that's the problem. So the governors are the major stakeholders. They are the major problems. And sometimes, even look at the APC's convention. It was when after the governors have agreed with Mr. President in the outside meeting, then they now came to implement. So, and that's actually how it plays in all the political parties. So when the national party chairman or executive wants to get it right, they must begin to, marry ideas with the governors and the governors forum.
All right, Neville, I've seen your reaction so far. You share in these perspectives that the governors are to blame for the way the political divide is at the moment and how the road to 2023 is shaping.
Well, the other day, I had the opportunity of appearing here and elsewhere to talk about the proposed electoral bill and how the National Assembly that is saddled with the responsibility of lawmaking made a blanket law that democracy must start from each political party before you take it to inter-party politicking and voting. And they emphasize that all political parties should adopt direct primaries, and that will be transparent and open. This document was brought before the president, and information that is public domain said that governors said no to it. And because they rejected it, the president did not sign, and now asked the National Assembly to remove that direct primaries and give opportunity to political parties to determine the mode of their primaries. If you allow political parties to determine the mode of their primaries, then there's no democracy in Nigeria. What is happening here is just selection. And they played that during PDP primaries when they wanted to when they organized a national convention. Iyochayu was a consensus candidate. They just said first vote, easy one, and they said it's got 3,000 plus. The same thing they did
in the APC convention with Adamu.
They brought a paper and said this is unity list. All these people, we are returning them. That's not democracy. That's a mockery of democracy. And if you check the one of PDP, you discover that it was the governors that decided it. If you check the one of APC, the governor decided it. The same governor that will come to the state and determine what the state will get or what they will not get in terms of law, in terms of local government administration, in terms of local government election. It pains me that in this state, since I've been in this state, I came to this state shortly before democracy was born, and I was here when Chief Lucky Igbeneghu was governor of the state, and I was here when they conducted local government elections. I know one barrister, Eric Agbo, of AFP that time. He became the local government chairman for Ego. I know one Amune of Akukwado, APP chairman for the local government. After that time, every state in Nigeria, the party in that state, the ruling party in that state, will win the chairmanship position, will win the councillorship position, will win all the councillorship positions in an election that is conducted by the state
independent electoral commission.
And sometimes you will see that a judge, a retired judge of a court, competent court, will be the one that will preside over such a commission and will be the one to announce such results. My brother, there's no democracy here. We are just making mockery of democracy. Now, if we want democracy in this country, democracy where in each of the states, different political parties can win local government chairmanship election, different political parties can win councillorship election. If we want democracy where the issues of religion will be downplayed and the issues of ethnic group or ethnic origin will be downplayed, we need to go back to option A4. Option A4 that was adopted by Professor Frumosu for SDP and NRC. That is a direct election, open election, option A4 kind of election.
But you also know the fallout of that election.
The fallout of the election was that
where tenants had house rent increased, and the husbands fought with wives, and all of those things that happened.
My brother, let me just say this. Because of the kind of democracy that we practice, every person is a local government chairman to himself, is a councillor to himself, is a governor to himself, is a minister to himself, is a president to himself.
Except for the allowances.
In a decent society, government is supposed to regulate everything regulatable. Whether you call it rent, well, it's only if you come to Edo State, if you travel to the western part of the country, as soon as you enter Edo State, you will know the difference. the can water that you buy for 100 naira in Lagos up to Ondo State, up to Ofosu here. As soon as you cross that river to this other side, 150. It is now 150 naira. And so if not more than that in some places. A bag of rice that you can buy in all those states, maybe around 27,000, 23,000. As soon as you enter those states, it's over 30,000, as the case may be. So at those states and some other places, people are like, they are government to themselves.
There are laws unto themselves.
Yes, there are laws to themselves, and it is because those that are supposed to govern the society effectively, they are busy doing other things that are irrelevant, just because of their own interest, and they lead the people at the mercy of those that have direct contact with them in terms of business transactions. So this is a problem, and any person who wants to become president of this country, any person who wants to become governor of any state in Nigeria, and any person who wants to become a local government chairman, should sit down and think about the outcome, both the physical outcome, the social outcome, the political outcome, and the spiritual outcome of their actions when they leave this Kiritas terrain.
Okay.
Because the way things are going in this country, people try to use what we call the principle of constructivism. They want to construct Nigeria politics and weave it around religion. Whereas religion is personal. They want to weave it around ethnic groups. No person should use the origin, his own ethnic origin, to oppress another person. And from Edo State, when I was coming to this world, I did tell God I'm coming to Edo State. They just gave birth to me. I saw myself as an Edo person. So if another person from another part of the country will not be telling me I'm majority, you are from Edo, you are minority, the person is insulting my creator, because it was God that just also put you in the place you find yourself. This one should not guide our politics. And in any case, as we are talking of North and South, let's move around Nigeria. There's hardly any community you go to that you don't see hundreds of thousands of Northerners. They are presided over this country as military men. They are presided over this country now as civilians. Do you see that in the developmental space of the environment? The answer is no. The other day, they were showing videos of our people crossing the Mediterranean Sea, and some of them lost their life, and they are losing their life continuously like that. You come back to Edo State. The money that we have been getting from allocation, the derivation and the rest of them, is it seen on the lives of Edo people? If it is seen on the life of Edo people, why are they migrating? Why are they living for better opportunities? As it is with Edo State, so it is with other states in the country. So as we are talking about 2023, we cannot just say, oh, I'm a Northerner, I want Northerner to rule. I'm a Southerner, I want power to shift to South. We should move away from that. Any person who wants to preside over the affairs of this country, we ask the person question. We set agenda for the person. Okay. We have this problem, we have this problem.
How are you going to solve them? Absolutely. Yeah, that seems to be our teller point. Yeah, I'd like to get your perspectives on.
Yeah, like I said before, let me quickly, what my brothers, I didn't say that the Northerners must bring, the PDP must get a candidate from there. What I was trying to say is that if PDP want to rescue power from APC as a party, they are going to replicate what the same APC did then to take power from PDP because of the voting population.
From the north?
From the north. It's the same thing. Because of the voting population from the north. Now, getting your candidate from the north, look at the three geopolitical zone. Get someone that is competent, that can do this work, that we know that can do this work. Not on a paper from 3 persons have said it. This is the person that we can send and we'll get a return. That is the problem we are having. For me, wherever the president comes from in 2023 is not an issue to me.
Okay.
What is the issue? Is this person competent? Can this person do this job? Is this person coming in? What are you coming with? How are you going to solve this issue of insurgency? These are the questions we are supposed to be asking. A few days ago, I was somewhere to tell person, they say, no, let them talk. That is the problem we have with the politicians. Somebody is coming to tell you that he won't do this position. You don't even want to ask him questions because you put money for table. You don't want him to talk. No. Don't worry. At the end of the day, If the person did not make any promise and you don't really have anything to hold him.
You can't hold him accountable.
You don't hold him accountable for when Buhari was coming to power. What did he tell him was coming to do?
But he said a lot of things.
Listen, it was just change.
He said a lot of things. He said a lot of things.
About the truth. We're talking about the document. Wait now. Those are verbal statements.
No, they were part of the.
Do you have the copy today?
Those what they look somewhere.
No, they look somewhere. Do you have the copy today? If somebody is coming to tell us he want to go to Nigeria, he should come up with an agenda.
Are there, they speak for themselves. It's just like when people tell us
I have the phone. I have not seen it.
Sorry.
But I know that they make statements. And when politicians make various statements, they can easily tell you tomorrow nothing like that. You must come up with something that everything you want to do, how you want to go about it, everything should be on the document and it should be everywhere. All Nigerians will have copies so that tomorrow, when you are deviating, we tell you are deviating. Tomorrow will be the point of.
But we have seen people who documented what they want to do, and then when you ask them, they give you an excuse why. We have seen people do that.
Excuse
we have seen people present agenda, manifestos of jobs, documented and stuff like that. When they ask, when you ask, they tell you that we didn't say we are going to create this job. We only said we are going to provide the enabling environment. We've seen that happen.
The people who are documenting what they are going to do. They work with their document. That is why you can easily point finger to that. You have not done this, you have not done that.
Yes.
Because there is something that is with you, which is the key indicator that you can actually access.
Is it about making reference to the document or actually fulfilling what you said you're going to do? Whether it's written or it's unwritten. Yeah, whether it's written or it's unwritten.
I promise, sir.
Yeah.
And if anybody has a written document, the person will want to work with what they have on ground. But when you make a statement on air, the what we are saying now, those who have indicated their interest now, apart from my brother Peter Obi, if I have my way, I will make him the president of Nigeria. If I have my way, he's the only person now that have a clear-cut agenda in becoming Nigeria president.
Okay.
What you are seeing is the same story. People are just talking. Nobody can.
Do you have Peter Obi's documents?
It's already to the public to be checked.
Do you have it?
I have gone through it. I have gone through 2 pages.
Okay.
And I know that the board have signed and that direction.
Okay, let's look at this campaign.
So that is where I don't have the power to do it. I'm not even a delegate.
All right, let's
those who have the power to do it, they're not the person they want there. So all Nigerians.
Let's conclude, guys. Let me get a final word from you.
We are suffering too much.
Of course.
Many people will go to the same market. Nobody can eat. You can't try.
Let's get a final word on it.
I think I cue
from him. Okay.
That it's hard time we started fixing the Nigerian problem. There is nothing like APC or PDP
at all
in common market. It's just a coloration and like a slogan to woo people to their side. It's better that Nigerians take the destiny of the Nigerian state in their hands and begin to come out. You see, one of the problems that really man the Nigerian politics is this term voters apathy. Especially in the South. They know, like you said, yes, they go out en masse to vote because they have had that political sensitization a long time ago. Yeah. But in the South, you see the Southern, I tell you, can't vote, not they count. If your vote does not count, how come that the politician comes to you and wants to buy your vote
and give you money?
If a politician can bring out money to want to attempt to buy your vote,
it your vote
count.
Okay.
So what I keep telling people, and what I want to say here again now before I leave, is that if a politician comes to you and wants to buy your vote, it means your vote count. It is you who do not go out to vote that gives them that room to rig. Yes. So it is high time we started voting and voting en masse. Whether you like the candidate or not, look across the candidate. It is not compulsory we must all vote for the same candidate. But go out en masse and vote for your different candidates, and let us make Nigeria a better state, irrespective of political.
I agree with you.
Well, I use this medium to plead with the Nigerian political elite to look at the way the president of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, is trying to provide leadership in the midst of
the crisis,
Russian invasion of their country. That is leadership, that is democracy. That the president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, and his APC party members that are presiding over National Assembly several states should provide leadership for this country and lay the foundation for either continuation or for change of government in 2023.
Okay.
Oh, lastly,
Yeah.
I wish to say that the issue of where a president is from does not matter. Right now, based on political power configuration, it matters.
It matters.
A time will come that it may not matter, but right now,
It matters.
it matters. And we are going to get to a stage where powers will be decentralized, deconcentrated, and devolved, so that the pressure on people to go and plunder the nation's treasury
Will be reduced. Okay.
Thank
Harrison,
you.
final word.
Well, for me, I want to appeal to Nigerians that we should go out and assess all these aspirants and vote for the person that can actually lead this country. Okay. Nigerians are suffering. Whether it's PDP, APC, I don't care. If the right person is in Labour Party, go and vote for the person. I don't care where the person comes from. In the siege of political zone in Nigeria, we have people who are competent that can rule this country from any angle. We should begin to think of the right people right now. If not, we are still going to come back here and begin to cry.
Okay.
Some of us said Buhari was going to be the Messiah. Where are we today?
All right. I
It's
hope some of this
person.
thing that you're making now will not be seen as anti-party activity.
No, it's not an issue at all. It's not an issue.
Oh, okay.
And
That's just on the lighter side. No, that's just on the lighter side.
Do you know what it cost me to buy for to come here?
Yeah, that's just on the lighter side.
I was going to see gas yesterday. I got there. They told me the price have changed.
Okay.
They kidnapped my friend. I don't care.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time with us on the program TMI Monday. Harrison Ezeko, thank you very much. Neville Obahedo, it's always a delight to have you here. Solomon Ijoba, thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Well, for me, the onus is actually on the political parties right now to make the best decision to bring forth people who can represent, lead, and put us on the trajectory of peace, progress, and development. Before the electorate decides who becomes the next president, next governor, senator, House of Rep member, House of Assembly, local government chairman, or a councillor, political parties must bring forth the candidates. And that's why I said a while ago that the onus is on the political party to scan through those who are agitating, aspiring for respective positions, and ensure that they bring forth the very best who can live up to expectation. One of our panelists here mentioned the leadership that Volodymyr Zelensky is providing in Ukraine in spite of the war. That is where it is. That's where the buck stops. The buck stops at the tables of whoever is in position of authority. But in this case, President Muhammadu Buhari. Things have not really gone well the way a whole lot expected. I recall that in that election, we were here all day doing all the analysis and doing all the permutation. But today, what's the story like? It's certainly not rosy. But we hope that 2023 will be an opportunity for us to rewrite our history and change the narratives of this country. We'll take a break. We'll be back with you on TMI with my colleagues. Stay with us.